This week has started off on a pretty predictable note, getting exactly what we discussed. We are actually checking a few of those boxes that we were talking about. And right now, ADA is at the same price it was yesterday. Despite our retracement, despite our shakeout we experienced yesterday, we're back. We're looking like we're going to test our 20-day moving average, and we're kind of prepping for this breakout and this push to some of those higher levels. And I want to show you guys just a couple things here, but I do want to also discuss this article talking about quiet accumulation taking place in terms of ADA that could in fact spark a surprise. Are we going to see this a surprise in terms of price? So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So the two boxes that we checked yesterday are the exact ones that we anticipated to begin the week. We saw one, our early week shakeout on tariff news. We talked about this being Monday. We talked about another one on Wednesday, so pay attention to that. But the second thing we talked about was big accumulation taking place, and this is obviously why the market was able to hold up in a good way. We saw $216 million worth of BTC accumulated by institutions, $62 million worth of ETH accumulated by institutions. So we talked about that long weekend kind of suppressing and holding things back, and boom, they hit the week they were buying. But they weren't the only ones. Enterprises were buying in a big way. We talked about MetaPlanet buying yesterday. Strategy is supposed to buy like $4 billion worth of BTC. Governments around the world are accumulating as well. And what was very interesting about this too is we've now hit the third straight quarter where public companies are actually buying more than these ETFs, more than institutional players are. So we're seeing a little bit of a dynamic shift there. And the great thing about these companies is they're building out these treasuries that many of them are not planning on unloading for quite some time. So you're actually seeing more stability in terms of price. And obviously that's going to be a great thing for ADA and altcoins as time progresses. And actually this made us hold up in terms of BTC yesterday in a very good way. We had our retest at our 20-day moving average and our longer term trend. Beautiful bounce right off it. So things are actually looking very good in the early part of the week. And again, it's really only a matter of time until we break through this 20-day moving average and get a much bigger, exciting extension out of here. But what I do want to actually talk about again is this quiet accumulation that could spark a surprise. So first of all, there's I think 4 things in here that we need to discuss. Some of these we have, some of these we haven't. Funding rate signals retail traders are still betting against ADA price. So it says across major exchanges, ADA's funding rates remain neutral. That means most traders are undecided between going long and short. And we've discussed exactly that. In fact, that long short ratio sits still at almost a 1.0. We haven't seen this flip really one way or the other yet. We obviously have gotten out of the times where people were super bearish and we had like this 10+% imbalance to the short side. Not necessarily the case anymore. All right. Now exchange flows stay negative. Another clue of accumulation. And yeah, we've talked about exchange flows very heavily and the billions of dollars worth of ADA that have obviously been removed even since the early part of November. And what this says is negative flows often coincide with accumulation. When traders withdraw coins, they're usually moving them to cold wallets, not prepping to dump them. Talked about that many times before. Holder count keeps climbing while ADA price lags. We've actually hit a new year-to-date high of 4.5 million holders. So that's a very exciting sign to keep seeing ADA on a fundamental level take these steps forward. And what then it also talks about is this descending triangle that is in the works. And in fact, I just wanted to show you guys this, again, trend line that we're fighting right here. You guys can see this connecting the tops here. Obviously, we're just drawing straight lines on the charts, but that can give us an idea of where these breakpoints are, where we're fighting against resistance. You guys can see very clear resistance, 1 at our 20-day moving average, but 2 at this actual trend. Could we be on the verge of breaking out this trend? That potential is there. Thing I would say is watch for some fake outs in terms of ADA. We've seen that many times before. And again, it really just comes down to one, a question of confidence in the market in totality. But secondly, it also comes down to leverage here as well. And in fact, when we look at leverage for ADA, we've kind of gotten to this point where we're again really sandwiched in between here. And longs have pushed up really hard on the bottom. Understand that. We are sitting on a huge amount of long leverage in these tight ranges. And if we get things pushed the wrong way, you could be talking once again about 55, 54 cents, somewhere in that range. However, we still see this huge concentration of short leverage above these prices here as well. We talked about 62 cents. We talked about 64 cents. That's kind of where if we do get a quick wick in the market or some big accumulation, even that takes place today, you could see a nice rally to those prices. Now, remember, again, Wednesday, I would expect to be a little bit of a shake the tree event as well, trying to cause some retail capitulation, try to cause some of that retail PTSD. Understand that if we do get to 62 cents, that would be us actually getting all the way up to our 50-day moving average. 64 cents would be in between our 50 and our 100-day moving average, kind of in no man's land. But we're seeing a lot of progress on a fundamental level across the market. And I know that bores some people. And guys, I get it, but these are things that we need to look at. That is how you know when the charts are going to flip. And a lot of things are starting to work in our favor. Hopefully we still get a big week of institutional accumulation. Hopefully people aren't falling for the shakeouts. And we can start making some actual progress in terms of the charts. We're only about 2 weeks out from when we had this last significant drop in the market, this last retest in terms of ADA, but you can definitely see that there is a lot of green and a lot of excitement building. We've had several days of just, decent size ADA candles, 7+%. And the question is are we going to get one of those that extend us out to some of these highs that we haven't seen since the middle of June? So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think we're going to get this week? Again, I think next week could be a big week for the market, crypto week, a lot of things going on, but we'll see where we are heading into that point. So appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.